So we're back to monsters, talking about them. Now, if you listen and if you keep it in the show, you don't edit it out, I played some dogs barking jingle bells during our technical difficulties intermission because we're doing the Dogman.
Hello!
Dogman, man-dog, man-wolf, wolf-man, what have you. There's been lots of sightings. I thought this would be a short part of my book, but it was actually quite long, so I just wanted to break it up into two parts. And I also looked at the article you sent me from Week and Weird from the Dogman of Pennsylvania, which really it seems like it was taken from a post in their comment section, so it really wasn't that great, but interesting nonetheless. But I guess the original Wolfman, Dogman called Man Dog, don't want to get sued.
Yes.
Was the Beast of Bray Road. I'm not sure if you've heard of this, perhaps.
The Beast of Bray Road? Never heard of it, no.
Happens in Wisconsin. The Beast of Bray Road was first reported to have been seen in 1936 on a rural road outside of Elkhorn, Wisconsin. And it was described in several ways. It was a bear-like creature, some people said. It was a hairy bipedal organism or life form resembling a Bigfoot in some ways. Said it was unusually large. It was 2 to 4 feet when it was standing on all fours, but when standing bipedally, it was standing about 7 feet tall. It was appeared to be intelligent. It was a very wolf-like creature, but it usually preferred to walk on its hind legs. Eyewitness accounts said they estimated it weighed between 400 to 700 pounds. And it had fur.
It's a big dog.
It's a big dog. Where's big dog clothing? But it said its fur was brown or brown/gray, resembling that of a fur of a dog or a bear. And now, I mean, that's what the original account from 1936 looked like. Then I found an account from 1999 in October in the Bray Road area in Wisconsin. A young woman named Dorothy Gibson was driving along Bray Road near Delavan, Wisconsin. As she neared the intersection of Hospital Road in the area, she leaned over to change the station on her radio, and she felt her right front tire jump off the ground as if she had hit something, like ran something over. And so she stopped her car and got out to see what it was. She found nothing on the roadway behind her car. Couldn't see anything on the berm or anything like that. So she started to look around. And as she peered into the darkness, she suddenly saw a dark, hairy form racing towards her. She did not see what the figure looked like from the distance at which she was standing. She was standing about 50 feet away from it, but she did see the figure was quite bulky, and she would later compare the form to someone who works out continually with weights. So it's a big, bulky guy, maybe kind of like Dino, perhaps, but not. It doesn't have the shrunken hand.
Big weightlifter, roid raging.
Not gay.
Not gay.
She was startled by the form, and she heard these sounds of like really heavy feet moving through the brush. So she ran quickly to her car. She jumped in. And when she's attempting to drive away, the beast jumped onto her trunk. She jumped on the back of the car. Apparently, as it had been raining, it was too wet, so it kind of slipped off of it as she drove away into the night.
There seems to be a lot of reports of these cryptoids attacking people near their cars or while they're in their cars.
Yes. Well, it looks like as we'll see, a lot of these encounters, at least from the monsters I've done, and for this, are a lot of people encounter them in their car driving on roads at night.
Yeah.
So that leads me to a sighting in McHenry, Illinois, which is in northern Illinois. A lot of these man-dog encounters occur in that area. They apparently occur all over the country, but a lot of them are in northern Illinois and southern Wisconsin. So in McHenry, Illinois, a husband and wife were driving back from a funeral at about 2 a.m. on Route 31. The driver noticed glowing eyes off to the side of the road as they approached the residential area. They came to a complete stop as they had thought it was a deer about to cross the road. A dark shape rose out of the gully next to them, and it went from its forelegs and stepped up and kind of, instead of walking in forest, it went to 2. And it crossed the road in front of the headlights and looked at them as if it were annoyed by their presence. It looked at them in their truck, and it snarled at them. It finished crossing the road and returned to all fours and headed into the woods, which they then proceeded to keep driving. And they saw it through the rearview mirror as they kept driving away. Apparently had circled back through the woods to come back out to the berm on the side of the road to watch them leave from the edge of the road.
I actually have some audio of that snarl.
No.
Wow.
Yeah, in fact, they actually saw Hillary Clinton.
Hillary Clinton, yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. My bad.
the description they hear, it kind of matches up. They said it walked, it was upright, looked like a walking upright wolf. Had forearms, but here's where this is where it kind of freaked me out. It said it had forearms, they held in position like a kangaroo when it hops. And we've seen a lot of kangaroo descriptions.
Forearms?
It's forearms, like it's the how your arms survive your forearm.
So your forearm, not, okay. It didn't have 4, like 1, 2, 3, 4 arms.
No, correct.
Okay.
It did not. Held that in a position like a kangaroo when it hops. It kind of held them back. So kind of like it had a kangaroo-like form, like we've seen in a lot of these other cryptids. That it's very strong, had very thick, muscular thighs, had a canine face with a bushy tail, approximately 6 feet tall, reddish-gray fur, and apparently its eyes were a deep yellow when the headlight shined on them, kind of like you see in nocturnal animals.
How big were the genitals?
Not mentioned. I looked for it. Of course. Trust me.
Once again. All right, go ahead.
For the right stuff.
Yep.
So the witnesses said that what seemed like what should have been for a few seconds for it to cross the road took much longer. They said as if when they were looking at it, like its eyes, it said as if like kind of time slowed down. It had some kind of psychological effect on them, which is kind of important.
Okay, interesting.
So this leads me to another sighting here. Last sighting, I guess, in my serious commentary, but this was in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. You remember that?
I do know the name. I remember the name.
From Mothman's from.
Yeah.
Oh, Mothman Randy Savage.
Yeah.
This is a 2014 sighting, very recent. So an area resident, Glenda, was having a cigarette on her front porch at approximately 11 p.m. Her neighborhood has a railroad track on one of its borders in the neighborhood. She noticed strange noises outside of her house previous nights before this encounter. On that night, the neighborhood dogs were barking more frantically than they normally were. And so she noticed a dark figure near the railroad tracks in her neighborhood and thought it was someone like in a dark hoodie, just kind of like homeless guy, hobo, heroin addict hanging out by the railroad tracks. She realized after she stepped into the street light, it was actually dark fur. It was not someone like in a dark hoodie. It had she described it with it had pretty much the head of a German Shepherd. It was about 6 feet tall, walking on its hind legs. The creature noticed she was observing it and stared at her. A car approached and the creature ran off into the woods at a very high speed. She said it was a high speed that would seem very unnatural that a human would be able to reproduce. She said she had a strange feeling when she looked at the eyes of the creature. It said it drew her in, and it prevented her from noticing any other features, as if it wanted her. When you looked at the eyes, it like made her draw to the face and kept it locked. She said she also felt as though she should not be viewing or witnessing this creature when she looked into its eyes. I noticed that was a common theme I saw in the one man-bat case from La Crosse, Wisconsin. And also there was another case. I can't remember what it was.
Like they could perform some kind of hypnosis on somebody.
Hypnosis or telepathic communication.
Mm.
And a lot of other cryptid encounters we at least covered. Well, I should plug it again, the American Monsters book from Linda Godfrey.
You will give the new Independence Day movie a good review.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
You know what? I've noticed a lot of these encounters in Wisconsin and in those in New Jersey, and we've seen some of them in not so much in Maryland, but some of the Goatman stories and this one, they've all occurred by water. The
water
is right there on the Ohio River. Which kind of leads some some credence to perhaps it's leading into missing 401. I wouldn't make a direct correlation, but the water and cryptid sightings is kind of interesting. Perhaps there's ETs or unknowns, or when they're actually really left alone with people, they just suicide them into the water because they have this uneasy feeling of you shouldn't be seeing this, and they kind of get a telepathic result that they kind of just like, how about you go drown yourself?
Yeah. Speaking of missing 401, I got a message from the remote viewer who does want to come on and talk about remote viewing and missing 401.
That sounds great. Now to finish up, Dogman. I guess my main point I want to make. So imagine if on Star Trek, say if these were aliens coming down here and killing people because they see them. Imagine on Star Trek, instead of Data getting caught by people in the primitive planets, they don't want people to observe. Data just murders all the village.
Yeah, well,
he makes them all drown.
Yeah.
So, perhaps it's something like that. Instead of a non-interference, well, you shouldn't interfere, but if you get caught, kill them all.
Yep, you can't see this.
Afraid I'm going to have to drown all of you.
Interesting.
Dogman 2 coming up next week because I have a lot more cases, which I won't do too many of them, but it comes into a lot more of being able to read your mind and telepathy and different kinds of, I guess, more extraterrestrial origins.
Cool. We'll do Dogman 2 next week. And now
it's time for the motherfucking news.
All right, now it's time for the news, and we're going to do some headlines here. This is part of the show where I read down some headlines, and you let me know what you want to talk about. You ready for this, Joe? I know you're tired, pal.
Oh, yeah.
Joe's not even there.
Maybe he just...
Yeah, Joe's... Maybe he checked out. I don't know. It says he's there. We'll see.
I saw one.
You know what? I was muted. I've done this before on PlayStation, and I've been very upset about people I've been playing with, and I'm like, "Hey, why aren't you listening to what I'm telling you?" And then be like, "Oh God, yeah, I have my whole thing on mute.
I'm on mute. God damn it." I've done that. I feel like a dumbass. Real fast before we get to the actual headlines here, is that there is actually a Dogman symposium happening in Defiance, Ohio, in the beginning of August.
Yeah, I looked at that. It's on a Saturday. It's south of Toledo.
Yeah, it's about 2.5 hours away from Columbus.
You might as well go.
Tickets are $25. I'm actually just thinking about sending them an email that I will be with the press, OBDM, and schedule some interviews. Actually, I'm going to make up a press pass for myself.
I like this.
So I think that this is something we should actually do for the show. I think I might actually do that. So
it's only like 3.5 hours for me.
I wish I could put all the audio I had as I was responding to you as you guys were ignoring me. I just figured you were ignoring me.
No.
Because it was like,
no,
it must have been for, I don't even know how long, because I asked Eric for a drink and Eric brought me a drink, and I wanted to talk to him and say thank you and everything else. So I put you all on mute. This seems to me like fucking lifetimes ago.
Well, you want to woo-woo?
Yeah, you want woo-woo?
Woo. Yeah, I want like 2 or 3 woo-woos. Yeah, one of those.
Sounds like Eric served you a stiff drink.
Stiff one.
Yeah.
It's not a gay time.
It's not a gay time.
It's super gay. And I've got a stiffy. The drink. This is a stiffy. Not me. I'm not stiff.